this great state of Florida, and this honorable court. Ladies and gentlemen, the judges of the 6th Judicial Circuit, the Honorable Anthony Rondolino, Chief Judge presiding.
Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you, folks. Let's remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Be seated. Welcome to everyone. As we're getting organized a little bit, the first order of business will be our invocation by Senior Pastor Dr. William F. Sherman of the Mount Carmel Baptist Church.
Let us pray. O God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come, our shelter from the stormy blast, and our eternal home. We acknowledge in this place that the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. We further acknowledge that we are your people, the sheep of your pasture. It is you who have made us and not we ourselves. So we register our thanksgiving, and I pray, Lord, that you bless this occasion, bless the honorees, bless the chief judge and the judges, bless all those who work with the law and law enforcement. We thank you. This is my prayer. I pray it is in the name of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Pastor Sherman. And welcome, everyone, to our second annual Pro Bono recognition ceremony. Thank you very much for coming out on this rather inclement afternoon. I'm going to go through the judges who are present, and please hold your applause as I introduce them. Wait till the end, assuming you'd have applauded anybody in the first instance. We are very pleased to have from our Second District Court of Appeal two judges, Morris Silberman and Nellie Kuzam. From our local courts, we have Judge Michael Andrews, Judge Sherwood Coleman, Judge Jack Day, Judge Miriam Irizarry, Judge Edwin Jagger, Judge George Jaratka, Judge Nancy Moat-Lay, Judge Keith Meyer, Judge Thomas Minkoff, Judge Peter Ramsberger, Judge Thomas Ramsberger, Judge Deborah Roberts, Judge John Schaefer, Judge Susan St. John, and Judge Kimberly Todd. In addition to our judges, we have some distinguished guests, and I have a list of those who've signed up. Christy Pemberton is here for Jim Bennett, our Pinellas County attorney. We have Ken Burke, of course, the clerk of court here in Pinellas County. Raymond Carrion, Esquire, who's here. Bernie McCabe, our state attorney. Natalie Scruggs, who's appearing on behalf of Sheriff Nocco from Pasco County. Jeff Hoberg for Representative Gus Bilirakis. We have former Commissioner Barbara Todd, who of course has a familial interest here on the court. We have Josh Chilson from the Florida Bar Board of Governors designate. We have Sandra Diamond from the Florida Bar Board of Governors, Jewel White, also for Jim Bennett's office. Thank you. In a moment, we'll go into the presentation of our Pro Bono Recognition Awards, and that'll be hosted primarily by Judge Todd. I do want to make just a few remarks, and we need to keep the program moving. There's some other functions that many of us need to attend later this afternoon and this evening. But I'm very, very pleased that we have this ceremony. As professionals, one of the hallmarks of professionalism really is not only our code of professional responsibility and the ethics we adopt and we take the oath as attorneys, but to give a little bit more than we receive. Most lawyers in private practice, of course, are used to receiving funds for their work, and truly all of the lawyers paid for by the state, whether they be public defenders, assistant state attorneys, attorney generals, county attorneys, receive remuneration for their services. However, all of us, even those in government, recognize the responsibility that we have to assist those who are unable to access the court. And our Chief Justice of the Florida Supreme Court, as one of his primary concerns, the ability of our public to access needed services so that they can have their day in court. Without the many folks you're going to see here today receiving awards and others who are not here, hundreds of people wouldn't have been serviced in the court system, and we applaud you. And for those of you who are here not receiving awards, thank you very much for being here and participating in this needed recognition. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Judge Kimberly Todd.
Well, welcome everyone to this celebration of all these folks that have done pro bono in our community. I'd like to, on behalf of our committee, I'd like for those that are here from our committee to please stand up. I want to recognize you for the Sixth Circuit Committee. Thank you. And our committee is not a closed group, so anyone that wants to get involved, see me, and I'll be happy to sign you up, so just let me know. I do want to thank the sponsors real quickly, McFarland, Gould, Lyons, Sullivan, and Hogan. I think they're present. Felice, Italian Catering, I believe they're downstairs getting ready for the reception, which all of you are more than welcome to attend after this event. The office of Ken Burke, his office really assisted in this. Janet Barr Photography, Mike Porter Insurance, the Florida Bar Member Benefits, Tampa Bay Accounting, 21st Century Financial, and of course the Clearwater Bar and St. Petersburg Bar. So if we could just get applause for all those sponsors to make this possible. All right, so let's get to the celebration. This morning at 9:30, I received a phone call that Justice Quince was ill. So unfortunately, she won't be here today to present, but she did send her best wishes and appreciation for those that are here in attendance. So the good news is that I immediately called up Judge Nellie Kuzam, who more than happy said she would love to come and speak. So I want to just tell you a little bit about Judge Kuzam before she makes some remarks. She received her BA degree in history from the University of Florida in 1979. She received her JD degree from University of Florida College of Law with honors in December 1981. Following law school, Judge Kuzam was a law clerk for the Honorable Jack R. Schoonover of the 2nd District Court of Appeal. Then she was in private practice, where she was a shareholder at Fowler White, Gilliam Boggs, Villarreal, and Banker, and later a shareholder in the law firm of Silberman and Kuzam. Judge Kuzam was appointed to the 2nd District Court of Appeal on August 1st of 2008. She's written numerous articles for the Florida Bar Journal, Nova Law Review, Litigation Magazine, Trial Advocate Quarterly, and she also lectures at judicial conferences and is a faculty member of the Florida Judicial College. She's past chair of the Florida Conference of Circuit Judges. She's got several memberships to many organizations. But I think the most important thing is that she's got a daughter, and her husband is here as well, the Honorable Morris Silberman. So without further ado, I would like you to come up and make some remarks, please.
Thank you, Kim. That was a very nice introduction. It's always a pleasure to be back here. In fact, I had this very courtroom when I was criminal administrative judge many years ago, so it truly is a pleasure to be here. And it's also very important to be here to recognize and applaud the recipients of the Pro Bono Awards. I think this quote from Albert Schweitzer is very fitting. The purpose of human life is to serve and to show compassion and the will to help others. The attorneys here and the law firms that will be recognized here have gone beyond the call of duty to serve and to show compassion. Helping folks, whether they're in contract disputes, domestic issues, personal injury matters, foreclosure, and the like, these are real cases with real issues involving real people. So life is about giving and not about receiving. We all know the story of Mother Teresa, a tiny woman, barely 5 feet tall, who went into the slums of India to help those in need. She says that you don't need to go to the streets of Calcutta to help people. You could find them in your own hometown. So here in Pinellas County, there is hope for those who cannot hire a lawyer to win a case in their favor. Pro bono lawyers are fighting to defend those who deserve but cannot afford adequate legal assistance. So people who help others, no matter what the cost, are true public servants. Be it Mother Teresa or those of you who are going to be recognized today, are truly your selfless deeds make you the greatest people on earth. So congratulations, we're very proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Judge Kazam. And at the present time, we'll be presenting our awards. Judge Todd, would you like me to come down?
Yes. We're going to begin with the lapel pin recipients. So Kimberly Rogers, do you want to come on up for that?
Thank you. Good afternoon. I am honored to present the Lapel Pin Awards. This recognition is given to attorneys throughout the state of Florida who have fulfilled the Florida Bar's aspirational ethical pro bono obligation of providing at least 20 hours or more of pro bono legal services to the poor. The attorneys recognized here today have done that for legal aid organizations in the Sixth Circuit. They have volunteered with either my organization, Community Law Program, Gulf Coast Legal Services, Bay Area Legal Services, or the Sixth Judicial Circuit's Guardian Ad Litem Program. This award consists of a lapel pin and a letter of commendation signed by Justice Labarga, Chief Justice of the Florida Supreme Court. And it is made possible because of a collaborative effort involving the Florida Supreme Court, the Young Lawyers Division of the Florida Bar, and we have Christina Faher here today, who's a representative on the Board of Governors of the Young Lawyers Division, so thank you for your support, and the Florida Pro Bono Coordinators Association. And we have here today Erica Garcia, who's with the Florida Bar Foundation as a member of the Pro Bono Coordinators Association. Thank you for your support. So at this time, I would like to call up those lapel pin recipients who are here today. There are many others who are recognized and their names are on the backs of your program, but my colleague, Ms. Tarana, will help me call those who are here. And we would ask that the audience please hold your applause until the end in interest of time. So I'll begin with those attorneys who've donated at least 20 hours or more. Louis Adcock, William Backer, Russell Boring, and would you please remain standing so that you can be photographed? Form a line up here. Thank you. Rebecca Brodier, Michael Buchholz, Aaron Cardenas, Constance Coleman, John Cunningham, Sandra Diamond, William Daniel Finlayson IV, Christina Glazer, John Gull, Rex Golden, Susan Helms, Pamela Hembry, Amber Hill, Patrick Hogan, Oliver Janae, Regina Kardash, John Kirkpatrick, Tricia Latta, Diana Manson, Andrea Martinez, Andrew Morin, Mariella Olson, Jennifer Perez, Mercy Roberg, Steve Russell, Barry Salzman, Scott Samus, Carly Schweitzer, Michael Singer, Erica Smith, Rachel Stanger, Tonu Tomipu, Danielle Vandergeeten, William Walker, Sarah Wallace, Stephen D. Gregg on behalf of Gary Williams, and if there's anyone else in here, if you think you're a lapel pin recipient that I might have missed. Thank you. Let's give every one of these a round of applause.
It's wonderful to have such a great turnout. We don't even have the room for you up here. It's fantastic. I guess we'll do some photo ops later.
Okay. Yes, go sit down.
All right.
And I have one more category of folks, a much smaller group. Those who donated 100 or more hours during 2015. Thomas Beniak. William Bostic Jr. Kathleen Engelman. Melissa Jagger. Lawrence Markell. And John Tuthill. Thank you.
We have some recipients up here that have done this more than once. How many of you all have received a 100-hour award more than once? Thank you all very much. At this time, we'll be having an award for outstanding pro bono service by an attorney. So Judge Todd, if you'd like to proceed with that.
So we have, our committee put together several, we actually take nominations, and they're nominated from around the circuit, Pinellas and Pasco County, for outstanding service by a paralegal, law student, law firm, and attorney. So, and our committee votes on the nominations that come in for those categories. So I'm going to start with the outstanding pro bono service by a paralegal. We have one honorable mention, and that's a Dana Carmack. I don't know if she's present here today. All right, come on up. All the details. Congratulations. All right, so the paralegal that got the Outstanding Pro Bono Service Award is Regina Malore. Regina Malore is a paralegal who volunteers her time at the Guardian Ad Litem program and has been doing so since 2014. She's been handling 3 Guardian Ad Litem cases with a total of 5 children. She spends an estimated 15 hours per month for a total of 180 hours per year dedicating her service to these families. In addition, Ms. Malore volunteers at the St. Pete College Legal Studies Society Student Legal Clinic and the St. Pete College 5K race benefiting St. Jude's Children's Hospital and Habitat for Humanity. All of this in addition to being employed full-time and going to school and involved with her own family. So if you come up, Regina, we could give you your award. Okay, the next category is Outstanding Pro Bono Service by a Law Student, And we got several nominations, and we have several honorable mentions. So when I call your name, if you would come forward, this is just the honorable mentions right now. Nathan Bremier, Donovan Moore, Sherilyn Hansen, Michelle Goodman, Rachel Coran, Phyllis Nolan, Haley Knapp, Alexandra Nokademi, Caitlin McComber, and Adam Campbell. Michelle? Okay. And Sherilyn? Nope. Okay. Right, Haley? We got people that still need awards.
Okay. Hey. Haley.
Okay. There we go.
We didn't give him a code.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Isn't it great to have all these law students doing this?
What's your last name? Okay. Okay.
Phyllis? Yes,
That's Phyllis.
okay. Okay. We could do better at that, but thank you. Congratulations to all of you. Okay, so the winner of the one that was voted on by the committee for outstanding pro bono service by a law student is a person by the name of Tomoko Ranson. Tomoko Ranson is a law student at Stetson who volunteered at Gulf Coast Legal Services, where she volunteered 265 documented hours, but may have volunteered well over that. Ms. Ramson works primarily with victims of domestic violence who were referred to her by the Haven, RCS, and CASA. She also works with elderly clients as well as assisted in filling out pro se family law forms. As a certified intern, she was able to go to court to further assist the indigent population being served at Gulf Coast. In addition, she took on research projects including family and elder law and public benefit law, to name a few. She is a member of the Barney Masterson and Kanakeris Family Law Ends of Court, and if this were not enough, she volunteered at the guardian ad litem, all while parenting 2 young children, one of which is here today and attending law school. There she is. Okay, so the next category is outstanding pro bono service by a law firm, and we received we have 2 honorable mentions, and I'm not sure if they're here. Carol Johnson, and I know Smith Hopen was not coming. PA. Is Carol Johnson here? Yes. Okay, the law firm that received the award for outstanding pro bono service is the Immigration Law Group of Florida. The Immigration Law Group focuses its practice on immigration law. The firm has 2 principal attorneys, Adrian Dennis and Kathleen, Makajevac. I butchered that one. Since the firm's opening in 2014, these 2 attorneys have made a conscious effort to provide support for the Tampa Bay immigrant community in terms of pro bono legal advice, clinics, presentations to the community at large, outreach to law enforcement on issues of immigrant victims of crime, and presentation to the immigrant community on special immigrant relief for which they may be eligible. In 2014, the firm began providing the Hispanic Outreach Center in Clearwater with pro bono advice clinic every other month since 2014. They have advised well over 100 people on their immigration cases through pro bono clinics. They have presented numerous times for a total of well over 24 hours of presentation time and dedicated countless hours of free pro bono work. So congratulations to Immigration Law Group. Okay, our next category is outstanding pro bono service by an attorney. And we have several honorable mentions for that category. So if your name is called, if you could please come forward. We have a Bruce Eason, Adriana Dennis, she was just up here, Wanda Davis, Lydney Jennings, and Regina Kardash. Congratulations. Thank you so much. There you go. Congratulations, folks. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So this year's recipient of Outstanding Pro Bono Service by an Attorney is going to an attorney by the name of Lynn Hanshaw. And I actually spoke with Lynn Hanshaw about that she was the recipient of this award. And I asked her to please share a story with me about how she felt she made a difference by offering to handle a case pro bono. And so I didn't want to miss anything, so I'm going to read it what she told me about it. She says that she asked her boss at the time, a former attorney, Michael McKnight, many of you may know who he is, who he was, to work on a case with her. The case involved several families, approximately 30 to 35, that lived in a long-term hotel. The landlord owner of the hotel was trying to have all the families evicted. They had children, pets, and so both she and Michael McKnight filed an emergency injunction to stop the proceedings. They succeeded, and what followed, according to her, was amazing. She said the families felt empowered. They actually felt like someone cared about them. They bonded together to get the power turned back on. They fed one another. They took care of one another. The meetings between the residents and the attorneys representing them took place at a picnic table right outside that long-term hotel. According to Lynn, the residents actually stood up a little bit straighter. They began to believe that they mattered. It would not surprise anyone to hear that it trickled down to their children, that perhaps some of those children stayed in school a little bit longer and got into less trouble than they would have otherwise. Lynn Hanshaw and Michael McKnight were paid in hugs and thank yous. It was one case to each of them. It was lives changed forever for all those families that they helped. This is the type of case that helps us all really remember that it may be one case to an attorney or a law student or a paralegal handling it, but it's really can affect people's lives. So It's my pleasure to give this award to Lynn Hanshaw. Okay, our final award is the Chair Award, and what that is I actually asked the judges in the circuit and Pascal and Pinellas to nominate attorneys to receive this award, and so I received several nominations, and then all of the judges, it wasn't me picking them, all the judges voted on all these folks. And I'll tell you, it was very close, and there are a lot of really good people that were nominated. So I'm going to call these folks, and they're the honorable mentions for the Chair Award, and then we'll go to the recipient. So if your name's called, please come forward. Michelle D'Angelo, Wanda Davis, Lawrence Markel, Jim Moss, Jeremy Simmons, and Janine Williams.
James barely said.
Markel, over here. Is that Markel?
Jimmer.
There we go.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Guys, come on in for a picture there. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so I can tell you right now that the recipient of this award does not really want to be recognized. He's standing there with his arms crossed. That's just the type of person he is. And I spoke with him on the phone, and let me just tell you a little bit about this recipient. He has volunteered for the community law program for over 20 years. He's volunteers at the community law program's weekly family law walk-in clinic at least twice per month, and I'm told that he does not hesitate to take case after case. Family cases. He has spent well over 1,500 hours doing pro bono and serves as a guardian ad litem in countless family cases. When I spoke with him, he was very humble about his pro bono work. He feels that in family cases, he simply is leveling the playing field and makes sure those without financial means to hire an attorney receive the same due process. A simple thank you from a client is what does it for him. I asked this year's recipient to tell me about the case that most stood out for him, and he shared with me the following story. He said that he was involved in a case in which he was the guardian ad litem, in which he represented a 6-year-old little girl. The girl was living with her father at the time, who drank excessively and would lock her and other children in a room behind a gate when he'd drink with his friends. One day, he got into a car accident with his daughter in the car, which prompted the mother to file an emergency motion for change of custody. The motion was granted. While with the mom grabbed the child in the face and scratched her, leaving deep marks. Department of Children and Families did not intervene. Upon request, the judge ultimately placed the child with the child's maternal grandparents. Recently, today's recipient received a note and photos from the child's grandfather saying how great the child was doing in middle school. This case was significant, I was told, because a life was saved. As the story was being shared with me, today's award recipient gave all the credit to the judge in the story. He didn't want to take any credit. But as you know, a judge really couldn't do anything or have the ability to do anything without the advocacy and hard work of the guardian ad litem. The guardian ad litem in the case I just shared with you, and the recipient of the Chair Award for his work in 2015 is Bill Bostic. If you come on up, please. Okay, I believe that's going to conclude the awards. Hold on. I was just given a note that I omitted Dan Perry. Come on up. He got an honorable mention. And that was for all of his work that, I know our committee talked about it at the Legal Fest, if any of you went to that in Clearwater. It was a fantastic event. So that will conclude the awards portion of our ceremony.
Thank you, Judge Todd, and I'd like to not only thank Judge Todd for her hard work in organizing and continuing this as a tradition here, but also her committee. These things just don't happen. They take lots of work, and we really appreciate that. In closing, I want to thank all of you for being here. I would also like to tell you that there is a reception immediately following this downstairs in our first floor cafe, and I believe we have some sponsors for that. Did we thank our sponsors for the? Okay. Well, thank you very much, and I don't think there's any further business before the court at this time. Sheriff?
Everyone rise, please. This ceremonious session is adjourned.